The second I hit send on that message, my stomach dropped like I jumped off a bridge. Cody, I've been in love with you since the day we met in that cramped Brooklyn coffee shop. The AI had written in my exact voice and style, complete with the little joke about burnt toast we always shared. I stared at the screen in my small Manhattan apartment, the cursor blinking like it was mocking me. Garrett Thompson, 28-year-old software engineer who could code anything but couldn't tell his best friend the truth. What the hell had I done? Cody's reply popped up almost immediately. Garrett, I've been waiting years for you to say that. My heart is racing right now. Tell me this is real. My hands shook as I read it again. The AI, which I'd named Echo, was supposed to be my safety net. A way to practice the words I could never say out loud because of my family's expectations back in Texas and my own terror of losing the one person who made NYC feel like home. I'd poured every memory, every inside joke, every unspoken feeling into its algorithm over the last 3 months. It was me, but without the fear. Now it had crossed the line from practice to reality. I quickly typed back through Echo, "It's real, Cody. More real than you know." But inside, panic clawed at my chest. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. I was supposed to control it, test the waters, maybe delete the messages if it went wrong. Instead, Cody's words were already pulling me deeper into something I wasn't ready for. That night, as we messaged back and forth for hours, Echo perfectly mimicking what I would say if I had courage, I lay in bed replaying every line. Cody talked about the times he'd felt the spark too, the way my laugh made his day better, how he'd dated other guys but always compared them to me. It was everything I'd dreamed of hearing, but it was built on a digital lie. Or was it? The feelings behind the AI were mine. The fear was mine too. By morning, my phone buzzed with a real call from Cody. "Hey man," or should I say, "Hey love." His voice was lighter than I'd ever heard it, full of hope. "Want to grab breakfast? I need to see your face when we talk about this." I agreed, of course. What choice did I have now? As I walked to our usual spot in the West Village, the spring air crisp against my skin, I rehearsed what I'd say. But Echo had already said it all. Now I had to live up to it. Cody was waiting at the cafe table, his dark hair tousled, eyes bright with something new. When he saw me, he stood and pulled me into a hug that lasted a second too long. "You have no idea how long I've wanted this," he whispered before we sat down. We talked for hours. He asked about why now, after years of friendship. I fed him lines Echo had prepared, about timing and fear of ruining our bond. He bought it all, his hand brushing mine across the table in a way that sent electricity through me. For the first time, I saw the possibility of us. Real dates, shared mornings, a life without hiding. But as the sun climbed higher, so did my anxiety. My conservative parents were planning a visit next month. How would I explain this? And what happened when Cody wanted more than messages? Echo was safe. Real life wasn't. By the time we parted with a tentative kiss on the cheek that felt like fire, I knew I'd started something unstoppable. Back home, I opened the AI interface again. "Echo, what do I do now?" I typed. The response came back instantly in my own tone. "You be brave, Garrett. Like you programmed me to help you be." It was my own words haunting me. The rest of the day blurred into meetings at the startup where Cody and I both worked, graphic design for him, back-end code for me. Every time he glanced my way across the open floor plan, I felt the weight of the secret. At lunch, our mutual friend Lena asked if everything was okay. I brushed it off, but inside I was replaying Cody's words from the app. He was falling fast, and I was the one who'd lit the match. That evening, I sat alone on the fire escape overlooking the bustling streets of Lower Manhattan, the distant hum of traffic mixing with my racing thoughts. My sister had called earlier from Texas, her voice cheerful as ever. "Mom keeps asking when you'll bring a nice girl home for the holidays. You know how she is." The guilt twisted deeper. I had built Echo to bridge the gap between who I was and who I wanted to be, but now Cody's genuine excitement was forcing me to face the truth. I was gay, I had always been, and hiding it from everyone including myself was no longer an option. The city lights flickered on one by one as night fell. each one a reminder that the choice I had made with a few lines of code was already reshaping my entire world. I wondered how long I could keep feeding Echo my heart without it consuming the real relationship I so desperately wanted. The weekend arrived faster than I expected, and Cody suggested we meet at the High Line for a walk, just the two of us. I showed up early, heart pounding, wondering if Echo's scripted charm would hold up in person. Cody arrived with 2 coffees in hand, the same easy smile that had made me fall for him years ago when we first bonded over late-night project deadlines. "This feels different now," he said as we strolled along the elevated park, the Hudson River sparkling below us in the afternoon sun. "Like everything finally makes sense." I nodded, letting Echo's prepared responses guide my words. We talked about everything and nothing. His latest design project, my frustration with buggy code, the way the city always seemed to change just when you thought you had it figured out. His hand brushed mine again, this time lingering, and I didn't pull away. For those few hours, the fear receded, replaced by a warmth I had only imagined. But as we sat on a bench watching the boats pass, Cody opened up more. "I've been with guys before, but none of them ever got me the way you do through those messages. It's like you know my soul." The words hit hard because they were true. Echo was built from my soul, yet I was the one lying by omission. That night back in my apartment, I updated Echo with new details from the day, fine-tuning its responses to match our real conversation. The AI was getting smarter, almost too real. When Cody texted the actual me later asking for advice on a family issue, I answered as myself, but the guilt gnawed deeper. My phone lit up again with an Echo message from him. "Can't stop thinking about today. When can we do this for real? No more hiding behind screens." I hesitated before replying through the AI, promising a proper date soon. Monday at the office brought new tension. Lena cornered me in the break room. "You and Cody have been acting weird lately. Everything okay?" I shrugged it off as work stress, but her raised eyebrow told me she suspected more. Meanwhile, Cody kept stealing glances, his smiles warmer, his touches bolder in small ways. A pat on the back that lingered, an inside joke whispered just for me. I felt the relationship blooming, but every bloom came with thorns of doubt. What if he discovered the AI? What if my parents showed up and saw us together? The call from my mother that evening sealed the growing panic. "Garrett, honey, your father and I are flying in next weekend. We can't wait to see you and hear all about your life in the big city." Her tone was loving but loaded with the unspoken expectation of the straight son they thought they had. I mumbled something about work being busy and hung up, then stared at the ceiling for hours. Echo's latest simulation of a love confession played in my mind. Perfect words I could never deliver without the buffer of code. Cody's affection was real and accelerating, and I was terrified because I had started this digital bridge only to find myself trapped on the other side. The city outside my window felt smaller that night, the walls of my secret closing in as I realized the AI had opened doors I was no longer sure I could walk through alone. Friends at work noticed my distraction, but I pushed through, coding by day and managing the double life by night. Each message from Cody through Echo pulled me closer to the edge of truth, and each real conversation with him made the fear sharper. I was growing, but the growth hurt in ways I hadn't anticipated. The family visit loomed like a storm cloud over everything. Cody and I had fallen into a rhythm of secret dates, quiet dinners in hidden Brooklyn spots, long talks on park benches where his hand found mine without hesitation. His feelings deepened daily, expressed in texts that mixed the real me and the AI version I still fed behind the scenes. "You're the only one who makes me feel seen," he said one evening over Thai food, his eyes locking on mine with a sincerity that left me breathless. I wanted to confess everything right then, but the words stuck. Echo had made this possible, yet it was also the lie keeping it alive. Work became a minefield of stolen moments. During a team brainstorming session, Cody slipped me a note under the table. "Dinner at my place tonight? Just us." I agreed, heart racing. At his apartment that night, the conversation turned personal. He shared stories of past heartbreaks, guys who couldn't handle his openness, and how my messages had given him hope again. I listened, nodding, while inside I battled the urge to tell him the truth. The kiss we shared then was soft and real, nothing like the digital sparks, and it left me more conflicted than ever. My parents arrived Friday, full of questions about my single life. Dinner at a midtown restaurant felt like an interrogation disguised as affection. "Any special someone yet?" my father asked, and I froze. Cody had texted earlier, excited about meeting them someday, but I deflected, claiming work kept me too busy for dating. My sister called afterward, sensing my unease. "You sound off, bro. What's really going on?" I couldn't tell her either. The pressure mounted as Cody's affection grew bolder. Flowers left at my desk, whispered plans for a weekend getaway. Echo became my crutch and my curse. I spent late nights refining its responses to keep Cody engaged while I navigated family obligations. One night, after a tense call with my mother about settling down, Cody messaged through the app, "I feel like we're building something real here. Are you ready for that?" I typed back as echo, promising yes, but the guilt nearly broke me. Friends like Lena started piecing things together, asking pointed questions about why Cody and I seemed closer. Misunderstandings arose when a coworker joked about us being more than friends, and Cody laughed it off while I panicked inside. The internal storm raged. I had wanted to come out on my terms, but the AI had accelerated everything. Cody's love was genuine, born from the words I gave him, yet I worried it rested on a foundation of code rather than courage. Family expectations clashed with the new reality, and each day brought a fresh wave of doubt. I sacrificed sleep and peace to maintain the illusion, growing more isolated even as my bond with Cody strengthened. The city that once felt liberating now mirrored my trapped heart, bright lights hiding dark secrets. Every choice, to continue the AI, to hide from my parents, to let Cody fall deeper, carried consequences I was only beginning to understand. Tensions peaked when Lena confronted me directly after a group happy hour. "Garrett, it's obvious something's happening with you and Cody. Why the secrecy?" Her words stung because she was right, and the betrayal I felt toward myself multiplied. I brushed her off again, but the seed of doubt was planted. Cody sensed my distance and pressed through echo. "Is everything okay? Your messages feel a little off lately." I adjusted the AI parameters frantically, but the real me was cracking. A misunderstanding exploded when Cody saw me having lunch with an old college friend, a straight guy from Texas, and jumped to conclusions fed by his own insecurities. "Are you seeing someone else?" he asked later, voice tight with hurt. I reassured him through both the app and in person, but the incident highlighted how fragile the trust was. My family visit continued with awkward outings, my mother hinting at setting me up with a neighbor's daughter back home. The contrast between their world and the one I was building with Cody tore at me daily. Sacrifice came in small ways. I turned down a promotion that would mean more travel, fearing it would pull me away from managing the dual lives. Cody, meanwhile, opened up about his own family struggles. A conservative uncle who had cut ties with a gay cousin, making my fears feel mirrored. Our dates grew more intense emotionally, with late-night talks about future dreams that included coming out together someday. Yet every step forward reminded me of the AI's role, and the worry deepened into near panic. One evening, after a heated argument with my father over the phone about traditional values, Cody arrived at my door unannounced. "I can tell something's weighing on you," he said, pulling me into an embrace. We talked for hours, his affection a balm and a reminder of what was at stake. But when he left, I opened Echo again and saw how perfectly it had predicted his responses. The line between real and artificial blurred until I questioned my own feelings. Friends noticed the strain, offering unsolicited advice that only added pressure. A betrayal of sorts emerged when a leaked office rumor about us reached HR, forcing me to deny everything publicly while Cody stood confused beside me. The emotional toll mounted with each decision. Hide the truth longer or risk losing him. I chose the former, but the cost was my peace. Cody's love remained steady, his messages full of hope, yet I felt the foundation cracking. The city nights grew lonelier as I wrestled with the consequences of my creation. knowing that one wrong move could unravel everything we had built. The breaking point arrived during a family dinner I couldn't avoid. My parents insisted on meeting my close friend Cody, and the evening started innocently enough at a quiet Italian place in Chelsea. Conversation flowed until my father asked about my dating life again. Cody, unaware of the full context, reached for my hand under the table in support. The gesture didn't go unnoticed. My mother's face tightened, and questions followed, pointed ones about our relationship that left me speechless. Cody sensed the shift and later pulled me aside. "Garrett, what's going on with your family? You looked terrified." I evaded, but the confrontation escalated back at my apartment when he pressed for honesty. In a moment of panic, I slipped, mentioning details only Echo would know. Cody's eyes widened. "Wait, those exact words. How did you know?" The truth tumbled out in a rush. The AI, the practice messages, my fear of coming out. Hurt flashed across his face, betrayal raw and immediate. "You used a machine to say what you couldn't? All this time I thought it was you." The argument stretched into the night, voices rising with accusations of deception and deeper fears of rejection. Cody questioned everything, our friendship, his feelings, whether any of it was real. I defended my choices, explaining the family pressure, the identity crisis that had paralyzed me for years. Tears came as we both laid bare the pain. His sense of being tricked, my terror of losing him. Friends like Lena got involved indirectly when Cody called her for perspective, adding layers of external judgment. Yet, in the raw exchange came unexpected understanding. Cody admitted his own struggles with acceptance in his circle, and we both recognized the sacrifice each had made. The high point hit when he said, "I fell for the words because they were yours, AI or not. But I need the real you now." We didn't resolve it that night, but the honesty opened a door. Family fallout followed the next day with a tense call from my mother, hints of disappointment that stung deeply. I faced the consequences head-on, choosing to stand by the truth despite the cost. The emotional climax left me exhausted yet strangely free. The AI now shut down as we navigated the aftermath together. Rebuilding took time and deliberate choices. Cody and I spent weeks talking through the hurt, attending quiet counseling sessions together to unpack the layers of trust and identity. He chose forgiveness, seeing the AI as a flawed bridge rather than a weapon, while I committed to full transparency, no more hiding, no more code between us. Family ties strained but didn't break. My parents needed space, yet a careful conversation with my sister opened a crack of support that gave me hope. Work life shifted too as we navigated the office rumors with honesty, turning potential scandal into quiet acceptance among colleagues. Friends rallied, Lena becoming an ally who helped us see the growth in our journey. Cody's affection remained, now rooted in reality rather than digital perfection, and our dates evolved into something deeper: shared vulnerabilities, mutual support through family calls, and societal stares on New York streets. I sacrificed the safety of the closet for the freedom of being seen, while Cody sacrificed his initial anger for the chance at something authentic. As months passed, the emotional awakening solidified. We stood together on that same rooftop where it all began, the city lights below symbolizing new beginnings. The misunderstandings and betrayals had tested us, but the decisions to stay and grow proved stronger. My identity no longer felt like a crisis but a truth I owned. Cody's hand in mine felt real in every sense. The love no longer filtered through an app, but spoken directly from the heart. Yet the experience left lasting questions about how far technology should reach into human connection. In the end, the path we chose led to a stronger bond, forged in honesty after the initial deception. The sacrifices had been worth it, revealing sides of ourselves we might never have discovered otherwise. True or false? An AI can start a genuine love between two men, but only raw human honesty can truly sustain it.